So now, new figures reveal our planet experienced its hottest September ever recorded last month. Climate scientists are stunned by the numbers. September was nearly 1 degree Celsius hotter than average compared to the past 20 years and 1.8 degrees warmer than pre-industrial levels. The EU Climate Monitor calls it an extraordinary jump. It shattered the previous record by half a degree. That is the largest increase in average monthly temperatures ever seen, and follows a summer of heat waves and wildfires. Scientists say it's now all but certain that 2023 will be the hottest year ever recorded. The EU Climate Service says for the year to date, temperatures are 1.4 degrees hotter than pre-industrial levels, the closest we've ever been to the 1.5 degrees threshold set in the 2015 Paris Agreement. Let's take this on. We can speak now to Kim Reid, who's an atmospheric scientist at Monash University and joins us from Melbourne. Kimberly, we really are talking an extreme rise here. It's quite startling, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we expect global temperatures to go up each year with global warming, but the amount they've gone up compared to previous years has got scientists scratching our heads, and it's really quite phenomenal.
There are mitigating circumstances, aren't there? Not least El Nino and its impact in the Pacific, which has an effect on the global weather system. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so we expect El Nino years to be hotter than other years generally, and that's because a lot of the heat that's been stored in the oceans gets transferred to the atmosphere where we as humans can feel it. And so the last few years have been La Nina years, which means they've sort of dampened some of the global warming, and so they've been a bit cooler. So the first El Nino year after this La Nina has been a bit of a shock. But what's concerning is that the amount that this particular El Nino year has warmed compared to previous years is still much higher than previous El Nino years. So 2016 was a strong El Nino, and that was about 1.25 degrees above pre-industrial temperatures, whereas we're sitting at about 1.4. So El Nino alone probably doesn't explain why we're experiencing this record warmth. And scientists do have another theory, and that's because of when we release greenhouse gases and through industrialization, we also release what we call aerosols. And these are tiny particles that can reflect incoming solar radiation and actually help cool the planet. So as we decarbonize, which is, of course, a good thing, we're also taking out this mitigating factor of aerosols that have been helping to cool the planet. So
right.
We do expect to see a bit of a jump.
Yeah, it's very complex, isn't it? The counter effects of everything. But the bottom line is emissions, isn't it? And we're heading towards 2023 being the hottest year on record, and there is no sign that the world is doing what it needs to do to prevent it getting worse.
Absolutely. The fundamental cause of all this is still rising greenhouse gas emissions. And although we might breach 1.5 temporarily, we still haven't failed the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement refers to a sort of 20 or 30-year average above 1.5. So there is still a chance to meet that, but we do need to rapidly turn around our emissions and start decreasing rather than increasing our global carbon emissions.
So you're saying that it's kind of factored in that we will go over 1.5 degrees Celsius at some point, but it's the long-term thing of making sure it doesn't happen in the long term is critical.
Absolutely. I don't think any scientist is expecting us not to pass 1.5 at all, but what we're hoping is that we'll pass 1.5, but we'll come back down by drawing carbon out of the atmosphere. And every degree that we can reduce the warming is going to be beneficial and going to reduce the negative impacts from carbon emissions.
Given these startling statistics that we're hearing today, how would you say the world is positioned and the effort being made by global leaders or not to get things on track? How would you say the world is set?
I think there has been a big effort lately to try and cut emissions. I know where I am in Australia, the government is planning to announce some new reforms, and I know the US has been announcing new reforms. I know China is doing a lot of great work to swap to renewable energy. So it's not all lost yet. We just need to do it a lot faster, and we need to stop digging up new coal and new gas because we just don't have the carbon budget to keep digging up new fossil fuels, and we need to rapidly swap to renewable energy. But I don't think all hope is lost yet.
Kimberly, just great to get your expertise and analysis. Appreciate that. Kimberly Reid from Monash University. Thank you.